During these months since I became your bishop, I, together with others, have begun to address some of the challenges that we face. Early on, I quickly realized that the luxury of waiting and simply listening wasn't an option. But I've also had this sense that as a diocese, we would benefit from finding a way to pause and take a collective deep breath, to take stock and draw on the gifts of the Holy Spirit as we set our faces towards that which lies ahead. And that, in a nutshell, is what the Holy Sabbatical is all about. A metaphorical pause, giving us the opportunity to breathe deeply, to rest and to recalibrate as we strive to hear God's voice beckoning us towards a new future. The Holy Sabbatical is, and I say this emphatically, it is not an initiative. I know that many are weary of initiatives coming from the so-called centre, and I've consciously sought to reduce or even avoid these. The Holy Sabbatical is rather an invitation for each of us individually, but also, I hope, together in our various groups and communities, to step into a different rhythm and a different way of being. It may be about deepening our personal discipleship, but it's also and primarily about our corporate life together and how we might, as a diocese, hear what God is saying to us. So it is an invitation. And if you choose to respond, it will, I believe, offer you a balm. But it will also involve a challenge, because to truly listen to God means that we must construct spiritual practices and daily habits of prayer. There are no shortcuts in this. It won't happen automatically, but it will require discipline and commitment. So this won't be an easy ride, and I'm certainly not advocating a lazy approach to Lent. This period isn't about doing nothing, but choosing to do the most important thing of all, which is giving time to God. Some business will have to carry on as usual, but you're being invited to prioritize carefully, reduce busyness as much as possible, and come before God with no agenda other than to be in his presence. And of course, the more of us choose to participate, individually and collectively, the greater the impact is likely to be. Because I have no doubt that there will be an impact. But, and this is the paradox, we're not engaging for the sake of outcomes, but simply because it is good to bring ourselves before God and dwell there. So we're stepping out in faith, expecting to be transformed, but we're also making a statement of intent, which is to be open, to listen, and to seek the wisdom of the Holy Spirit. Members of the Bishop's leadership team and I will be reading a book together called The Mystic Way of Evangelism. And we'll be spending time with one another each week during Lent, some business, yes, but also time for shared silence, prayer, and reflection. And we'll be moving around the different episcopal areas as we do this. And as others of you find ways of engaging, I want to say that we need also to honor the fact that there are different ways of experiencing God. And so different church traditions and spiritualities should feel free to explore varying approaches. There is no right or wrong. And I've also asked the cathedral to lead on sharing resources, and they'll provide opportunities for those who wish to come together and experience different forms of prayer. So do keep an eye on the cathedral website. Tom Geldard, our communications director, will also ensure that resources, stories and prayers are shared on The View and on social media. And my chaplain, Rosie Woodall, has written a collect which we will share and which I encourage you to use widely and frequently. So we will have plenty of words to help us through this period. But beyond that, and much more importantly, I'm hoping that during these 40 days, we'll step together into a period of sustained stillness and silence, to rest in the Lord and wait upon the Holy Spirit. John of the Cross spoke of silence as God's first language, a language which many of us find terribly difficult, but were invited to learn more of it. And since ancient times, there's been an emphasis on Lent as a time of reflection and healing, a time when study and learning give way to prayer and contemplation. I don't quite know where this is going to take us, but I have a deep conviction that it will be time well spent, and that we'll emerge better ready for whatever it is that the future demands of us. We'll enter the Holy Sabbatical with a gathering for clergy and lay ministers next week on Shrove Tuesday here at the Cathedral. I'm not a fan of three-line whips, and that's not what this has been about. But I do strongly want to encourage our clergy and lay ministers to be there so that we can demonstrate our intention through mutual support for one another. I've said this since my earliest times, and I reiterate again, the tasks before us in this diocese are not mine alone. I cannot do them on my own. I need to do them with clergy and lay ministers and all of us, colleagues, friends, disciples, together. If you are a member of clergy or an LLM who hasn't yet signed up, please consider doing so today. And if you're not a member of clergy or an LLM, do go back to your parish or your church community and encourage your clergy and LLMs to sign up if they haven't already done so.